Hey, what's going on, Cash Flow Hackers? It's Chris with Life 180, and I am here with my buddy Brandon Neely from Wealth Wisdom Financial. And if this looks different, it's because it is different. We're at a random hotel here in Cincinnati. Brandon lives right down the street. He saw I was in town, and so we decided to get together and film some content. And so we're just killing time. I'm gonna catch a flight later and just killing time filming videos in the meantime. So today we're going to talk about the importance of running your personal life like a business. And it's funny because I spent probably 6 hours writing yesterday, and I was actually writing about this topic in the book, in this section. I was in that section of the book, and it's interesting because you do a lot of profit first stuff, and I'm really big on people running their life like a business, and I think
like a profitable business,
like a good business owner, I should say, right? Because I guess there are a lot of people out there that run their businesses like totally haphazardly. But here's the deal: like when we think about it, I guess let me say this. I'd be curious to get your feedback on this, because I look at it like the word budget makes the hair on my arm stand up, right? Like I hate it. Like, and so I think a lot of people have a hard time with that because of the fact that, like, the word budget to me means I have to shrink. It's restrictive. It's scarcity, right? It's like it's not good. But when you think about it, really all you're doing is getting clarity by running a budget, right? And so what I had to do, and because words matter, and we all play these little psychological games with ourselves. I remember I had to shift it from saying I'm doing a monthly budget to I'm doing a monthly profit loss statement. Because if you think about it, every business owner that's doing it well runs a profit loss statement. And that's effectively, it gives you clarity on your cash flow, which is effectively a budget. Right. The difference is it's done with a growth mindset rather than a restrictive mindset. Because I don't know anybody that just has a business and is really in tune with their numbers that doesn't have a growth mindset. And if you ever watch Shark Tank?
Oh, all the time.
Right? Amazing, right?
Sometimes it's amazing. Sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, another inventor.
Yeah, I know.
Doesn't know how to run a business.
Well, and so let's talk about that for a sec. So like I literally wrote about this in my book yesterday, and so two things sharks look for on Shark Tank.
Numbers.
Well, so the first thing, not number, it's the individual. It's, do you have that entrepreneurial spirit? Do you grind? Do you have the determination? Do you have the staying power? They're investing in you, right? Like that's what they're doing. The second thing that they're looking for is how well do you know your numbers, right? It's that clean, right? If you don't know your numbers, it could be the best idea in the world, then they're not going to invest in you. And that just is what it is. And so I would encourage everybody to know your personal numbers the way that a shark would expect you to know your business owners. Yeah. What are your thoughts about that?
Oh, I think as I speak to business owners, I used to own a coffee shop, and I tell everybody when they start into business, when they ask me personal, like, should I do a business or this kind of thing, 3 things I tell every business owner. Know that you know that you're called to it, because it's going to suck at times and it's going to be really hard. Have a team around you. That's number 2. Meaning when things are hard, you have a team, a person. Like whenever I was having some challenges in our second year of business and marriage and all this other stuff, having a team of people, not just your board, but people that care about you, like your spiritual director. And then the third is know your numbers, right? And this applies to running a household, running some of it. Know that you know that you're called to it. Well, some of it is like you got married. You're kind of there. You did know that that's why you got married, and you have to stick with it. Same things apply, but knowing your numbers, it's amazing how many people don't know. I can pull up my budget, whatever, bad word budget. But I could pull it up and tell you what I can do right now. What I think about whenever it comes to budgeting, call it something else. Same with whole life insurance. If you don't like the title of it, call it a different thing that makes you feel good, but it's still in essence the same thing, right?
Yeah, totally.
So we call it managing cash flow like a millionaire.
Okay.
Right. So it's just giving your money jobs. Budgeting is kind of looking backwards, but we need to forecast what we want to do in the future.
Yep.
And what I think about when it comes to a lot of business owners, sometimes the scarcity is good, because I don't know about you, but I have a lot of subscriptions that I forget that I got, and I'm like, wait, what was that?
Just and money leaking out.
Money leaking. And so we want to like do what we call an expense challenge. Does that mean I'm being scarcity? What, I guess you could call it that. I don't know. It's more of saying, okay, I want to do an expense challenge and say, what do I not need?
Right.
And this, I don't know when this video is coming out, but
couple days,
right? It's coming up in January. January, do an expense challenge and say, okay, what are all these shiny objects that I thought I was going to use that I actually don't use, whether it's in your business or in your life, and cut them. And you just made 1% adjustments right there.
Yep.
Not restrictive.
Well, and I wouldn't say that's scarcity. I would say that that's just prioritizing.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just aligning your money with your values and beliefs, and saying, okay, whatever you have for subscriptions, chances are you did them at one point in time because they provided an emotional need.
Yeah.
You know, whether it was just like, I upped my subscription on YouTube TV.
Yeah.
Right. I upped it to the 4K.
Yeah.
Because I had to watch the World Cup.
Yeah.
You know, and so
there's a priority
it was a big time because like my son is super into soccer. If it were just me, I wouldn't have done it. But like, you know, I can't tell you how many hours, you know, we've had fun, not just watching, but like because we watch the games, my wife and my son and I, like being able to like just really engage about the World Cup, you know, and it's been because he's like a freak about Messi and all this stuff, and so it's cool. Go Argentina. But like it's been a lot of fun, and that's the thing. Now, after the World Cup's over, I don't need that anymore, right?
Yeah.
So it's $13 a month.
Yep.
So a lot of people would just be like, it's there.
Forgot
like you just forget about it,
yeah.
right? And the companies know that, by the way.
Yep.
They're not stupid.
Yep.
And so, you know, just do an audit every now and then. Be intentional about what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, but at the end of the day, what it comes down to is, you know, if you are a business owner, let's kind of take a step back. If you're a business owner, and you're looking to grow your business, you have to create a business plan, right? Like you're not going to grow your business without a real intentional plan about how you're going to grow your business. And that how has to involve the numbers, right? You have to manage your revenue, you have to manage your expenses, you have to manage your marketing, you have to manage like all these different things, right? Around your business. And you know, from a business perspective, when we get clear on where we want to go and we reverse engineer all those different components, it becomes like, oh yeah, duh, of course I need a budget and I need to manage where my money's going and how I'm saving and where I'm investing it, and am I going to put it into marketing, or am I going to put it into employees, or am I going to just keep it as a reserve account? Am I going to all these different things, right? And from a business perspective, people are like, yeah, duh, of course you got to do that. But I challenge everybody to realize you got to do that in your personal life too, right? Like you have where you want to go, create your own business plan on how you're going to create the life that you want to live, you know? And then reverse engineer that and say, okay, how am I going to do that? How am I going to save money? How am I going to make sure I'm operating as efficiently as I can with that money? You know, yeah, you may not have a marketing expense for your life, but you have other things going on in ways that you can manage that are going to
going out to eat, all those kind of things, right?
There's things you can do that are going to help you either get there faster or get there slower. And it's not good or bad. It's just, is it in alignment with what you want to accomplish? You know, and that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, and I think sometimes with the personal budgets, is some of the things I'm like, hey, we actually are just starting a club where we're gonna go in a fitness club. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
It's pretty expensive, relatively speaking, to join one of these like big highfalutin clubs. Sure. Right. Mm-hmm. But we're like, okay, we could sit at home and watch TV. We have a 4-year-old that's hyperactive, and you know, it's every 4-year-old, I think. Yeah. Right. And can I do something that will bring joy bring the family together, and also provide the fitness thing that you talk about, right? Exercise for him too, right? And so we weighed it out, and my wife is always, do we need it or do you want it? You know, that kind of thing. All the time this happens. She's not a spender, but those were things where she brought it up. I'm like, really? You want to add this to our budget? Like this is, but it was a intentional thing of saying, okay, what do I want to do? How do I reverse architect and add this in? And it is an expense. I could easily save it and put it towards debt, or put it towards future or whatever. But for that and the time of this 4-year-old becoming a, you know, whatever, I want to be able to invest in that for him to have family time. And so that was a 100% thing that we were signing up in a week. For this. And I'm like, all right, this is adding a huge expense.
Totally.
But it's value.
And you're being intentional about it. And it's funny that you say that, because we just did the exact opposite.
You cut it, right?
So we cut it. We had this really good membership to like this place called The Village. It's like the best health club you could imagine. It's crazy. But it was $350 a month. You know, and I'm looking at it, and it's not the $350 a month that matters. It's the fact that I wasn't using it. It's the fact that, you know, I'm looking at this and I'm preaching fitness, health, all this stuff. And I, you know, as a former competitive athlete and all that stuff, like, it's important to me. But I'm obsessed with my business and growing my business. And then when I have free time, it's family. You know, so I could never, I can't say could never, I wasn't ever prioritizing actually getting to the gym. I wasn't prioritizing going to the fitness club. And so for me, what I decided to do is I was like, well, I'm not gonna, like, the times that I could work out are either in the morning or at night when the kids are going to bed. I don't, quite frankly, whether it's good or bad, I didn't have the motivation to leave my house alone after putting my kids to bed, driving 10 minutes to get to the gym, doing the gym, coming home, all that stuff. To me, it was just like, it's not gonna happen. So we cut that membership, and I actually just spent, I don't know, a good amount of money, like a year's worth of membership to build the gym in my garage, because it's there, right? So
convenience.
I just replaced the expense, reallocated those funds, and now I own it as well. So after a year, it's going to be like a break-even proposition. I'm going to have it, and it's going to be awesome.
Well, and I think it's reevaluating it, and it's not static. That's where static, right? Budget is like, oh yeah, I said it, and now I don't have to worry about it.
There's no setting it, forgetting it.
It's an active thing. And certain things are a priority. You know, buying an espresso machine for me when I had the coffee shop was kind of a priority to buy. And now I'm like, I don't have any of those things, and sometimes I wish I did, but you know, my wife's still like, really, for who? I mean, like, you can just go buy it yourself. Go get a latte.
$10,000 espresso machine. You can get a lot of cups of coffee.
But then thinking about, you know, again, thinking through it, the Disney Plus subscriptions or whatever. But again, kind of thinking about the profit first model. The reason I like profit first is oftentimes we put ourselves last. We put profit even last in the business. We put savings last. We put all of these things last, and we don't prioritize our business and our certain, like, family dynamics, whatever those are. And so with profit first, it pretty much, you know, the allocations for a business, 5% is profit, 50% is owner's comp, 15% towards taxes, and 30% towards OpEx, right? That's the business. And you run in almost like a little bit of a scarcity. So you run a lean business, and then you are able to make the right decisions and sometimes cut. And then sometimes it's the 80-20 rule of saying, what is actually bringing me joy? What can I double in on, 20%, that I want to amplify, right? And so doing that similar idea of giving your dollars jobs 20%. Maybe it's a bigger expense for us, but if it brings joy, and it's going to amplify what I want help my son become whatever he's doing, bringing the family together. Am I going to spend more money? Probably, because guess what? They're going to have softball teams and things like that. And guess what? That means uniforms. All of those other things. But then as we're doing that, it's more intentional and building into the foundation of what kind of family.
Yeah, you hit a place when you start doing this where you stop worrying so much about cost and you start focusing more on value, right? And when you're thinking value, it's like it's what is the value that this expense is bringing to my life, and then you make value-based decisions. You know, and you know, you do that with your business, and then if you and you know, because you're not going to just blow money unnecessarily on your business. And the sad part is, you know, we talk a lot about financial efficiency, and that's kind of what we're talking about right now. Ultimately, is just financial efficiency. And you know, if you take a household, and this is the power of what we're talking about. If you take a household that's earning $100,000, and that household is doing everything they feel like they should do. They're saving 10% of their income. Right. And so that's what, $10,000, right? And now I'm going to keep this really simple. Let's assume they're not doing all these other things and keep it simple. So, and if you are, those things don't change. Like if you're tithing, right? Like 10%, let's say you're tithing, that's $10,000, right? Like for the sake of this conversation, I'm going to assume you're not, simply because it doesn't change the numbers, because if you're tithing, you're going to tithe probably forever. That's kind of the core value of what you have and what you do, right? So even in the future, when you go to retire, you're probably going to want to tithe, right? Like it's just part of the deal. So it's built into your lifestyle expense. Fair enough? Okay. So when we look at the 100,000 and then you save the 10,000, that means your lifestyle expense is 90,000 bucks. So the idea of, and this is just, it's mind numbing. The idea of, all right, we're going to take that $10,000 and we're going to try to chase these big returns, right? And let's say you're chasing a 10% return, which is totally unrealistic long term. But let's say you're. I
mean, Dave Ramsey said that.
Dave Ramsey says 12%. So you know, hey,
apparently it works.
You know, so apparently, so but that's $1,000 return. Got 10% of 1,000 annually. It's $1,000 return. The crazy part is when we talk about 1% changes, if I were to go in and say, hey, could you make a 1%, like on the $90,000 of lifestyle, do you believe that you have 1% of inefficiency in your life? Not you, but most people.
I think we can always work.
Everybody does, right? Everybody has 1% inefficiency, 2%, 3, 4, 5, right? And so when we get to the 5% number, and what I find is that most people have a minimum of 5%. Real inefficiencies when you break it down. And so on that scale, when you break it down, that's $4,500 of inefficiency on your lifestyle expense. And so when we talk about getting where you want to go with less risk, more predictability, more control, you're able to do that by focusing on increasing efficiency first, because now by finding that 5%, which when you break it down like that, doesn't seem like a lot, 5% inefficiency on your lifestyle and that full $90,000 going through your life, and then you look at that and you go, oh, it's $4,500. That's the equivalent of a 45% return on the money that you're investing for retirement already with no risk.
And this is where I think don't do what the banks tell you to do what the banks do kind of idea. They love that we're not efficient. And
totally. That's how they make their living.
If you do not have a plan for your money, someone has a plan for your money. If you watch a commercial, right? You probably saw an ad while you were watching this video where somebody had a plan for your money, right? It popped up somewhere, right? And so we have to give that job, already having that idea, right? And realizing, you know, when I work with clients all the time, I'm like, okay, how much, you have this much credit card debt that you spent on this thing that you forgot about, and it's 24% interest or whatever it is. I think the average is like 18 or something. 18% is the average credit card. And imagine, that's, if you've gotten rid of that, this is why I like Dave Ramsey. Get rid of some of that, your efficiency has changed.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I'm not saying you don't not spend. You know, again, I'm buying a club membership, right? And I think that some of that is important. And I also, in my business and in our running a business, I know my income is going to increase. It's going up and to the right, and it could change because, you know, I'm a business owner.
Yeah.
But it's all percentage based. And what's cool is I have a line item in our budget,
okay.
Or cash flow management system, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
That is mad money.
Okay.
Right. And I have my own mad money. My wife has her mad money, and we have family mad money. That is just a percentage of going to that. Some of and it's in the policies actually. It's just sitting there.
Okay.
But it's allocated towards that.
Cool.
And it's kind of fun to be able to say, oh man, we got this amount of money that I'm just supposed to spend on stupid crap. But then we don't.
But then you don't. Yeah.
We don't do it.
But because you're building other habits, and then when you start to do that, you're like, do I need to do that?
But it's really fun to see those things. I'm giving my dollar jobs.
Love it.
I'm saving. I'm also doing a little bit of expense challenge.
Yeah.
And then amplifying hopefully what's working.
Love it.
Do we do it right? Whatever. I don't know. That's why we do the still method regularly.
Yeah.
And have communication, which you guys mentioned in your wife's relationship is communicate.
Yeah, communication.
Regular. And this is something I think that oftentimes you guys listening if you're not communicating with yourself, a budget, a cash flow management system, whatever, it's just a communication tool so you can then move in the right direction.
Well, what's also interesting on this is do it with your spouse, you know, because I don't know about you, but I think most people wind up marrying somebody who's a little bit different than them, right? I mean, I think that's kind of a thing, right? Yeah. If you ever read like the 5 love languages or anything of that nature, you realize, at least for me, love my wife, God bless her, you know, we have totally different ways of how we handle things, right? And
we're having this conversation right now because it's Christmas time.
Yeah, right? And so you get into this, and so the communication behind it, if you're not running your life like a business, if you're not doing that monthly P&L, if you're not measuring and keeping track, you can't have a clear, articulate conversation. Yeah. Like, you know, we're always in sales, like that. We're always selling, right? Like no matter what, we're selling our ideas, our perspectives, or whatever. And so for me, you know, it's always a, you know, I don't know, productive conversation. But I've constantly, you know, I have to talk to my wife about, hey, this is where we are, this is where our goals are, this is what's happening. And, you know, this is kind of, I think, what we need to do. And so it's a sales pitch, right? To get her to buy into our goals and visions. And that has to be done on a regular basis. Yeah. Because, you know, we're on this path and we have the tendency to kind of stray from the path no matter what, because we're getting bombarded by all this different stuff, marketing and, you know, the air conditioner goes bad on the house, the pool pump goes bad on the house. I mean, I had to spend almost 20 grand this year just on household stuff that nobody wants to spend money on.
Yeah, I've heard you on that. Well, and again, it's thinking about, like, again, Christmas. Yeah. I know and I probably overdid it. And knowing her, I know I did, and she's gonna get mad at me, and it's on her, so it's okay, right? But then, you know, most people live their life where they don't even know what their amount is, and they overspend. Yeah, totally. Probably $10, it'll come out of my mad money. It's okay, whatever. But I overdid it, I'm pretty sure. And I know her, she's like, yeah, we have to stick it to this. And this is it, I'm just gonna take it from yours. You know, because she loves that. But also I know her love language, right? Yeah. And it's not gifts, it's time.
Quality time.
Quality time.
Yeah.
which is really hard to buy for at Christmas, by the way.
Do vacation.
Which we do. That's part of the other thing. But,
Do we just give away the gift?
Yeah, give it to me. I'll take it. And I think that's having those communications and I don't know, the budget, the conversations already dictate what we're gonna do, and we don't have to argue and say, well, here it is. This just says, okay, this is what we already said we're gonna do, and we stick to the plan.
Love it. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, so hopefully that makes sense, and you guys found value in that. I think it's one of those things that just warrants a real conversation. I think run your life like a business, communicate with your spouse, be very intentional. If you don't have a framework or like a budget, a P&L, or anything that you're following, you can reach out to Brandon. You can reach out to me. We've got all these processes that I know for me, I take our Life 180 coaches and train them. We've got software, we've got whole processes that we train people to increase their financial efficiency, because I think that's one of the most important parts. Like if you visualize, I love utilizing a bucket analogy with like a water with like a faucet.
Yeah.
And like the faucet, the water is your cash flow. If you visualize money as water and then a bucket, and your goal is to fill that bucket up with water. We all have holes in our bucket, right?
Yeah,
everybody has holes in their bucket. Everyone, myself included. We all have holes in our bucket.
Somewhere, and you're like, what the heck?
Yeah, and you got to constantly go around and inspect your bucket for holes, because the bottom line is holes. Birds come and peck the holes in the bucket. It just happens. And
4-year-olds don't eat their food that you bought,
right?
And you're like, what the heck?
Exactly. And so when you're turning the water, it doesn't make sense to like just turn the water on and try to put more water in the bucket if you got all these holes. You got to plug the holes before you turn the water on. And even if you plug the holes and the water's just a drip, eventually that bucket's going to fill up, right? And so, it's just operating when you have that visualization of financial efficiency. Like that, to me, a lot of people, I used to talk to people be like, what do you do for work? And I always hated the life insurance conversation,
right.
Like whatever, but I always would tell people I'm a financial efficiency coach. Because that to me is the core foundation of everything, And so I would encourage you to think about that, be intentional about that, increasing your financial efficiency. It's a great time of the year to start really thinking about, like, can you make 2023 be the year that you really grab the reins and take control of your financial life to get to where you want to go.
And here, I'm going to give you guys an acronym. Write this down on a piece of paper. And I mentioned this in my video, is the inverse is chaos. It's confusing, haphazard, anxious, overwhelming, and stressful. In 2023, do you want to be in chaos? Right? No one wants that, right? So we don't want confusion. We don't want to live in haphazard, anxious, overwhelming, and stressful. I think that's kind of our world, right?
Yeah.
And what we need is what I've thought about is the STILL method. And so write this down and put it down vertical and put STILL. S is set your sights. So write that down, set your sights, and you actually think through that. What do you want? Like, reflect on that. Do some journaling. Just sit with God with that and set your sights. Whether it's being a good parent, budgeting your business, any of that, set your sights. Then you have to track your in and out, whether it's going to the gym, having a date night, or making sure you don't go out to eat all the time, right? Track. Inspect your progress. That's the I. You can't just track it, you gotta inspect it to be able to see what it's doing. Then the next L the first L is look for 1% adjustments. What are the little things that we can do? And this is what we just said, is what are the 1% adjustments I can make to have that life to the fullest, or to have that marriage that I want, to have the business that I want? What are the 1% adjustments, not the 100% adjustments? And then the last L is live deliberately. Too many people are haphazard, not thinking through this. it's a deliberate thing. I have to deliberately go to the gym to have these abs that I have, right? I'm not as intentional, right? But I show up and I am not 250 pounds, right? Because of what I've done, right? And so if you want that, go to Still Method. I think it's stillmethod.com. If you want like a report on it, but really, I just gave it to you. Write that down, and then the trick is go back to it in a month, right? In a quarter, in a year, and you build on that. You will see results. I don't know what those results are, but you will see positive results. But because you are engaged in that with your money.
Anything measured improves. Period. So whatever it is, whether it's a still method, whether it's just a budget, whether you use something simple like Mint. I mean, it's something. Whatever. The most important part of what you do is that you do it, and that you are implementing and executing. Period. And doing it consistently over a prolonged period of time. And so. Well, it's awesome. Well, thanks for being. I'm glad we are able to connect and get over here.
In this quiet,
I know,
giant lobby.
I've never seen this like a place like this. It's in a hotel that's so like abandoned. And nice at the same time. It's pretty cool. So if you guys haven't already, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell that way you're notified every time I launch a new video. And if you haven't checked out Wealth Wisdom Financial with Brandon and his wife, go check that out. I'll put the link in the description below. You can go check him out and follow him. All sorts of great content as well. And that's it. Thanks for being here. Until next time, have a blessed, inspirational day. We'll talk soon.
See ya.